Hello everyone, and thank you very much for clicking on this video. Still a different background, still no access to my regular room where I record, no access to my microphone as I've had to order a new one. But without any further ado, let's get right into the video on a night where the Toronto Maple Leafs have beaten the Vancouver Canucks 5-1, and the first battle of Alberta goes to the Calgary Flame. And let's perhaps start with that, the Battle of Alberta, and what a game that was. It was an absolute scoring fest, just like we expected. It was a physical and not so disciplined game, just like we expected, where no team really dominated, yet the team that fought the hardest and battled the hardest went the way and walk away with the 2 points, and that happened to be the Calgary Flames. So the game really started right away with a deficit for the Edmonton Oilers, as Elias Lindholm pretty much straight away gets a goal on an assist from Dylan Dubé. I've never figured out, is it Dubé or Dube? Dubé, I guess. Dubé and Matthew Tkachuk. Edmonton would respond with a goal in the first period and then another goal to Connor McDavid, an absolute rocket of a snapshot to finish out that first period. It's 2-1 to the Oilers, and at that point I was thinking, well, both teams are looking pretty similar. They're battling hard, they are creating chances, but one team has Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. The other, although they have excellent players such as Matthew Tkachuk, such as Elias Lindholm and Johnny Gaudreau, they're not that level. So I was really thinking that Edmonton would not walk away with a victory from there on, but they would extend that lead and then slowly but surely go to the victory, and they didn't, because Milan Lucic gets on back in the second, Mikhail Backlund gets on back in the second. In the third, Jesse Puljujarvi equalizes, and it's 3-3, but from there on it was all Calgary. Calgary really looked the better team in the third, and Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl played. There was a very long, elongated shift where McDavid and Draisaitl played 5.5 minutes, or perhaps even more, and that's problematic for the Oilers. Yes, their depth isn't great, but if you can't manage, as the Oilers coach, if you can't manage to make that depth count, then what's the point in having those players? Why not change it up? Why not look to acquire that depth, be it with trading players, trading a pick or two, anyway? But if you do not trust that depth, I fear Edmonton might not go very far. And yes, Edmonton had more shots, and they just edged it on the face-offs with 51% and 4 more shots. But if you look at the advanced stats, not goals expected or stuff like that, but just the basic stats that you could see on AHL.com, such as the ones I'm looking at. The power play, Edmonton was 1-4-5. The power play for Calgary, 1-4-3. Now, the 1-4-5 power play, it's not bad, it's still 20%. But when you're playing your biggest rivals, the power play has to count for more than just 1-4-5, especially with guys like McDavid, Draisaitl, and then Nugent Hopkins. That power play is excellent. It's an excellent power play unit. Maybe one of the best, if not the best in the league. Make it count. But they didn't. You look at the hits. Calgary nearly had double the hits that Edmonton had. They had double the blocks that Edmonton had. The same number of giveaways. Just disciplinary, Edmonton was better, but they don't make it count. Calgary walks away with the victory. It's interesting though, because Calgary really has been an on and off team in the season so far. They've played great games, and then they go on to play horrible games, and we saw that, for example, against the Leafs, where they played an absolutely horrible game, and then they go on to beat the Leafs, and they were dominant mostly. And we've seen that. We will continue to see that from Calgary. Edmonton needs to bounce on those moments, because every game, Calgary, it's the same story. They have great moments, but they also have bad moments. bounce on those bad moments, make them count. And if we look at the standings, so far, Calgary is 6th in the Canadian with 11 games played and 11 points, but 5th is Vancouver with 4 more games, just 1 more points, then 4th, Edmonton with 1 more point, 2 more games. So with those games in hand, it's fair to say that Calgary probably makes the top 4 so far. Edmonton drops down to 5th, Vancouver to 6th, and then Winnipeg with as many games and 15 points in 3rd. Winnipeg has been going under the radar so far. They haven't been very, very impressive, but they've been solid enough certainly to warrant that 3rd place in the Canadian division. But in 2nd place, still Montreal, and in 1st place, Toronto. And let's get right to Toronto, where Toronto again have beaten the Vancouver Canucks by a big margin, by 4 goals exactly to be precise. And what a showing this was from Austin Matthews and Wayne Simmons. It was the editor in Leafs who said on Twitter that he thought when Spezza and Simmons came in that they would just be in the lineup because of their names. He must be eating his words as we speak, because what a player he has been. On the 3rd line, he wasn't as effective. Yes, he was effective, but on the 2nd line, paired with William Nylander and John Tavares, Wayne Simmons has easily kept up with those guys, and not in terms of point production, but from what you expect from that 3rd guy. Yes, you have Nylander and Tavares who provide the scoring and who provide the passing, but the physical game, and then here and there helping out with a goal, helping out with an assist, with net front presence. Wayne Simmons has been excellent. Jason Spezza on that 4th line has been excellent. And let's talk about Austin Matthews. So 5-1 for the Maple Leafs. Not really a game where the Maple Leafs dominated stat-wise, but it was relatively easy, it has to be said. Braden Holtby, Thatcher Demko, that tandem still looks iffy, to be kind. I don't want to hammer on the same points about the goalies in Vancouver not being great and losing their assets in Markstrom and in Tanev and so on. We've been over that already. Vancouver's in a spot of bother, and with the talent pool that they have, in a way it is understandable because it's a completely different team. Well, not completely different, but it is a different team. In another way, it just doesn't bode very well. And I could talk about this game and about the beautiful, what an exceptional goal from Wayne Simmons to start the period, an exceptional tip-in from Wayne Simmons, and then a beautiful goal by JT Miller for Vancouver, who got the goal got pulled back because there was an offside on the goal. Elias Pettersson hitting the pipes, but Mikko Lehtonen doing the same. So really, it balances out at the end of the game, and I just feel terribly, terribly sorry for Vancouver fans. But when you look at Vancouver, it's an intangible. Like I've said, I'm rehashing the same points I had in the same video. It's an intangible that they're missing. They're missing that leadership. They're missing. Defensively, there's just holes at some points. There's clear passing lanes that aren't being cut off, and it's cost them. Louis Eriksson made his season debut for the Vancouver Canucks. That says enough. I'm not going to talk about Vancouver anymore this game, because it's the same points that we've been making, that everyone's been making all season long. Mikko Lehtonen came into the Leafs lineup instead of the injured Travis Dermott. Mikko Lehtonen had not quietly, but he had an excellent night with about 14:10, 14 minutes 10, 2 assists, hitting the pipes once. One of the assists on a beautiful deflection by Wayne Simmons. But that wasn't the best deflection of the night. The best deflection of the night goes to Brock Besser on a shot from Quinn Hughes and on the pass from Elias Pettersson. Quinn Hughes with 15 assists already. That's absolutely insane. 15 games, 15 assists for Quinn Hughes. He's on points for more than 82 points in an 82 season game, in a 56 season game. He's about on par for a 60-point season. It's insane for a defenseman as young as Quinn Hughes. I said I wouldn't talk about Vancouver, but here I am. But it's positive though. Mikko Lehtinen, let's talk about him. He has slowly been put into that Leafs lineup, and he's grown into it. You saw that last time he played with an assist, now 2 assists hitting the pipes. He's really getting more and more comfortable, and that was clearly his best game. But Austin Matthews, when you play on teams with Austin Matthews, with Mitch Marner, with Wayne Simmons, yes, you're going to get points, that's a given. Yet Austin Matthews tonight was unplayable for Vancouver. He couldn't be stopped defensively. Braden Holtby couldn't stop him. Defensively, Matthews looks better than he did last year. And here's a question for you who's watching. Are the Leafs just in a good patch of form, or is this the Leafs that we will see all season long? And yes, I'm aware that they've lost 1 game in regular time, they've lost 1 game in overtime, but they will probably lose more. But is this the Leafs at their best? Is this the Leafs at 80%? Is this the Leafs at 110%, meaning that they will drop off? That's the question for you, because as a Leafs fan, I know I am biased, and I can exaggerate things. Every Leafs fan occasionally does, but I'm leaving it up to you. If you're a Leafs fan, if you're an Edmonton fan, a Calgary fan, even Vancouver fan, or just from another phantom that hasn't been talked about in this video, let me know. What do you think about the Leafs? On the Canucks, though, I think that they will bounce back. They've got good players. They've got Höglander, who's a good player. They've got Pettersson, Besser, Horvath, Miller. They don't need any introduction. Neither does Quinn Hughes. They will bounce back, in my opinion. They just need to find their groove defensively, and they'll be fine. Or maybe not fine in terms of playoffs, but they will definitely rack up more points, more victories here and there. Toronto, for now, I'm feeling good about them. There's still a 3rd game to be played against the Vancouver Canucks. They are leading the NHL currently in the standings. That being said, the Boston Bruins have a game in hand, and the Tampa Bay Lightning have 3 games in hand. But even if both teams win all those games in hand, Toronto would still be 3rd in the standings so far. I haven't looked further, though, to be fair, so I might be wrong on that. Don't quote me on that. So it's an excellent start of the season, 12 games in already, so you've played about 20% of the season. But excellent game for Toronto, excellent game for Calgary. Edmonton will bounce back. I expect the Battle of Alberta to be shared about 5 games here. And is it 10 times or 9 times? 10 times, right? I think it's going to be about 50%, or one team winning it 6 times, but not more than that. So if you have enjoyed this video, I was waffling at the end. I must admit I was waffling and rambling. If you've enjoyed this video, thank you very much for watching. If you've made it this far, please consider liking the video. Please consider subscribing to the channel. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you very soon.